Welcome to episode 98 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It's Saturday's episode, people. I know this is becoming a regular thing. It's Saturday's episode, but it is Monday. Monday, the 13th of April, 2020. And we're running late. We've had a few technical issues, people, over the last couple of days. Which basically involved me fucking around with things and then not being able to put them back again. So we're running late for that reason. Also, it's been the bank holiday. Come on, Jesus died all them years ago, and you know, don't crucify me over this. That's what I'm saying, people. That's what I'm saying. So we've had a few technical issues. I've had to fuck around with a few little bits and that. And also, whilst enjoying the bank holiday as well, holy fucking shit, it's been a hot one here in the UK. Here in England, anyway. I don't think it's been that warm in Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland, but fucking hell, man. Here at Briggs Towers, Jesus, we have been breaking out that 5-year-old suntan lotion and putting it on, slathering it on this puny white body that we seem to have constructed for ourselves in these 43 years, and still got roasted. I don't know whether suntan lotion loses its suntanness after a period of time, but fucking hell, man, I got absolutely roasted on, when was it, Friday, Saturday, and yesterday I was only out for about half an hour and still caught the sun between about 2 o'clock, so it's been a fucking glorious weekend, even though we are locked away and in our seemingly this as I was speaking to somebody earlier, this some sort of totalitarian state we seem to be living in at the moment. I just hope they actually, after all of this lockdown and fucking police walking around like fucking Officer Dibble out of Top Cat trying to disband people all the time, I hope they actually try to scale back on all this shit and don't, think, hey, hang on a minute, the government thinking, hang on a minute, we kind of like people just staying in their houses, just working all the time, not walking around that much or causing trouble. I think we'll just keep these laws as they are. You got to watch them, people. You got to watch them. I don't know. It just seems, again, chatting to somebody earlier, somebody made a very good point, who I was talking to earlier, about how we seem to have been conditioned now almost to just adopt the laws that they give us and just fully accept them and just find ways of living within these new constricted ways. I don't know, man. I've been thinking about it since we had this conversation earlier, and I don't know. People seem to be accepting it too easily. People adapting, people doing gigs online and stuff like that. I don't know, man. There seems to be. I know there's the part of the equation where everybody's thinking, "Oh, this is okay. I'll make the best of it," and that sort of thing. But people are adapting a little bit too well to this new society and these new rules that we seem to have. Too well, in fact, that, as mentioned before, people have fucking started, dobbing people in for, or grassing on people for having family gatherings, or, I know there's the risk of health behind it, but is it such a step away from, as the person I was speaking to earlier said, is it such a big step away from the fact that 1 minute you're grassing somebody up for having a little barbecue or a little family gathering or going out more than 2 times. A neighbour, grassing up a neighbour or something like that for going out for more than 2 times. Is it that big a step away from fucking collaborating with the Nazis? I don't know, people. I don't know. This is where we could be going down this track of like the Stasi and the SS. I don't know, people. Let's have a little bit of tea after that thought. People just seem to be, I don't know. Most people are just getting on in their lives. It's still out there, isn't it, somewhere? This virus that doesn't seem to affect in most of us, but, you know, still wiping out almost, what was it over the weekend, about nearly 1,000 people a day in this country is wiping out. We're now fifth in the world, the UK is. When you look at the size of the UK compared to the size of places like China, although I don't think we can really trust China's figures that much, I don't know. I don't know, people. You know, if you're from China and listening to this, you ain't from China and listening to this, are you? They don't get the internet, or they get a state version of the internet, where Google, everything they Google just comes up. China is great, I imagine. But I'm not sure their figures coming out of there that accurate. You know, if you're fucking around with people's internet and restricting how much internet they can see, and you've got you've banned Twitter, and I'm not sure Facebook's banned over there, but banned other things like social media. If you've banned all of that, you can fuck around with the figures of people who are dying a little bit, can't you? You know, you're not just going to let that go out there. Hey, 18,000 people died today. Anyway, you still love this country, right? You're going to fuck around with them as well, aren't you? And the figures you're putting out. So I'm not too sure about those figures, but the figures in the States and France, you hope you could believe it, don't you? But the UK seems to be like 5th at the minute. We went past like 10,000 deaths the other day, which is not a great, you know, it's not a great sort of like figure to reach, is it? It's not a great sort of like benchmark to hit. But yeah, it just seems, it seems like people are adapting too well, spookily well to it a little bit, you know. There's something sinister about, like, how people, you know, people dating through Zoom now and that. Are you that desperate for a fucking date? Really? Are you that desperate for a date where you're willing to log on to on Zoom or any of these fucking, you know, streaming services and have a date that way? I don't know. Read a book, maybe. You know, just obviously these things are going on in London because that's where all that weird shit happens, doesn't it? Somebody in London doesn't seem to be able to go fucking 5 minutes without a fucking date. I don't know, people. People seem to just be adapting a little bit too smoothly to it for my liking, and it just seems like. When are we going to get these laws repealed once? How long is it going to take to repeal all of these laws that they've passed? Without our say-so, by the way. There was no votes, no referendum on them. I know they're there. They're under the mask of, like, you know, protecting us, aren't they? That's what they are. They're under that, aren't they? Like the anti-terrorism laws and, you know, that's, you know, all of these things. It seems to go in a sequence of make us afraid, make us terrified, change the law, and then we lose a few more. Everyday things that we can and can't do. I don't know, people. It's I just hope they just don't just don't carry it on. There you go. You know, as soon as everything's lifted. And as soon as coronavirus has like been wiped out or stopped, or everyone's had it who can had it, not that the herd immunity seems to be working in this country. It seems to be, just cantering through the population at the moment. I don't know, people. It just seems, I don't know. Like, I want to know the timescales from when everything gets back to normal. And if it doesn't get back to normal, I want to know why. There's nothing else to be afraid of at the moment, is there? There always seems to be something to be afraid of. It's either terrorism, or something's going to cause cancer for you, or there's some sort of virus or swine flu, or, it's COVID-19 at the moment, but in a couple of years' time, it'll be something else. We'll be almost at war with somebody, or, it's a constant fear is put into you. And then people can manipulate this to restrict our movements and our freedoms. I don't know, people. Maybe I've been watching too much conspiracy shit on the internet. I don't know. Maybe I have. Maybe I've been having too many conversations with myself, thinking, actually, I wouldn't mind getting out twice today. I don't know. I don't know, people. Let's have a little cup of tea. That'll be the next thing. Tea kills you immediately if you drink it. That'll probably be it. I don't know, people. So over the bank holiday, I haven't really done that. I've been going slowly mad like everybody else, but it's hard to tell these days, isn't it? It's hard to tell. Are the people with depression, please write into me. Is it hard to tell you got depression, or are you still just fucking bored? Or you're just bored out of your head and don't know what to watch on Netflix? Or Amazon Prime, other streaming services available. Ain't just other streaming services available at the moment. Who'd have thought that? We meet the apocalypse by everybody setting up some sort of streaming service, which inevitably will break down or be poor quality. I don't know, people. You can't go out there streaming live shit because the internet's crap. They won't upgrade it to 5G because there's conspiracy theories about fucking... That's got to be one of the most mental conspiracy theories about this whole thing, hasn't it? Surely, he says, drinking tea. Hasn't it? That 5G caused the coronavirus? I don't know. China seems to be getting a bit of a backlash about this now. Everybody seems to be turning on China for some reason. Because obviously that's where it started. And people are even campaigning now to get some sort of reparations for this. I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast before. And people seem to be blaming China for this. And then you've got the conspiracy theories out there that China started this deliberately so that they could take over all of the financial markets when they come round from it. Why would you do that? Why, if you're going to start something deliberately, you wouldn't start it in your own country, surely, would you? I don't know. Maybe they would. Maybe they just thought, we've got quite a high older population at the moment. Let's see if we can wipe out those bastards and get some more fucking people producing. I don't know, people. I don't know. It's 10:54 at night here at Briggs Towers. You know what I mean? We're clutching at straws here. Clutching at straws. I don't know. It's one conspiracy after another, isn't it? Like that's the one thing that is a strange symptom or outcome of this virus going around at the moment, is the fact that everybody and their nan in the world is fucking streaming something. Most of it is pretty diabolical. And he says on a podcast, obviously the irony of that. But this was going before. And and the fact that everybody's streaming something at the moment, and every man and his dog has also got a conspiracy theory about why this is going on. Obviously, I'm exactly the same. I'm no different. Here we are living in lockdown at the moment, and you're just thinking, in the back of your head, all of us are thinking, I wonder if they're ever going to change these rules back. You know, I wonder whether they're actually going to change the laws, or everybody just turns on each other. It's divide and conquer again, people. That's what we're doing through fear. That's it, isn't it? Has there been any terrorist attacks recently? I don't know. Since this COVID-19 came out? I don't think so. If there has, they're not in the news. They're not that important anymore. All of that shit. You know, I remember seeing about 6 months ago how a front page spread on a newspaper about how tomatoes or something I think it was tomatoes can give you cancer. Are we not worried about tomatoes anymore now? Now we've got a fucking, cupboard in the kitchen full of the tinned fuckers. Are we not worried about all that shit anymore? We just concentrate on this. On this thing, we'll get this out the way, and then as soon as this is out the way, there'll be something else down the road that is going to fucking wipe us all out. I don't know. One of the weirder conspiracy theories that I saw about it all was that it's actually covering up that there's a massive comet or something coming to Earth to destroy us. If that is true, what absolute bastards to keep us home. If there was a massive asteroid or comet coming to wipe out the Earth, say in like a month's time, and there's fuck all they can do about it and that. So within that month, they just keep everybody locked down. Everybody locked down and in their homes, queuing for food so they can't fucking get rat-assed every day, although most people seem to be doing that anyway, to be honest. Particularly this weekend, over the bank holiday. And I salute you. I did the same thing on Friday, people. I'm not going to lie to you. All day Friday I spent outside and chatting to the neighbours, like in my front garden. They were in their front garden. And we just sat outside drinking for about 2 hours. Spaced apart, obviously. I imagine there was other neighbours poking through with a long lens, just taking a few photos so they can dob us into the police. I don't know. We get a fucking knock on the door like that. Were you outside enjoying yourself? Yes, Officer Dibble, I was. Yes, I was. Guilty as charged. I don't know. Let's have a look. What are we on? 18 minutes. Jesus Christ. Let's have a look at a few little news stories. There's a few funny little things been going on. Other than this, let's not talk about this coronavirus shit all the time. There's the new. I did watch the. I don't know if anybody else. Obviously, everybody's watched the Tiger King fucking documentary at the minute. But there's a follow up to it at the moment. And where they catch up with everybody who was in there and stuff like that. The woman guy, was it a guy or woman? I don't know. Who had their arm ripped off. They caught up with them and everybody else because they're all fucking celebrities now, aren't they? They're bigger celebrity. There is no bigger celebrity in the world at the moment than Joe Exotic, and that's all he ever wanted. I think, wasn't it? All he ever wanted was to be fucking super famous. He is super famous now, but also in prison. I mean, the fucking irony of that shit is amazing. He's got to be the person of this pandemic because everybody has stayed in. Everybody has watched that fucking documentary. And everybody else has become famous out of it and enjoying that sort of like, famous or infamous as he is with regards to what happened within that documentary. The catch-up bit was quite a cool way of sort of like rounding it off and stuff like that, really, because it kind of just saved you Googling where those people were now. And I am all for that, because obviously all anyone can remember is fucking Joe Exotic from that anyway. That's on Netflix at the minute. I watched that. I've also been revisiting Life on Mars as well on Netflix as well. I think it must have just come on there. I'm not sure. But there's loads of fucking BBC programs on there now anyway. So I've just been sitting sort of like chilling out a little bit, just enjoying, I've still got my food stored away just in case. I've been a little bit easier sort of like walking around this weekend. Things are starting to heal a little bit more with the old hernia. That's the herniatic update. And then just been fucking around doing stuff. I've almost completed everything now, doing little shitty little painting and fill-in jobs, and that's all I'm doing now. So Briggs Towers is almost finished. Holy shit. And there'll be something coming out. Within the next couple of weeks. As soon as I get a couple of bits sorted, there'll be something else on YouTube and Facebook coming out. So hopefully that'll be all right. For your listening and viewing pleasure on there. I know you get to see my fucking balding face. And obviously we're going to start videoing this. I'm just waiting for like something to come through that I can start videoing this podcast and put it on YouTube, like with my fucking balding face on it as well, instead of just a picture. Holy shit, people! I know. Let's have a look at these fucking news stories anyway. Here's a fucking headline for you people, and not a coronavirus, COVID-19, we're all going to die, holy shit, scream, 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 etc. Headline. Here's a headline for you. Rusty knife embedded in man's head for 26 years after being mugged. Jesus, you fucking... surely he'd realise... read the headlines then. Surely he'd realise they had a fucking... knife through his head. Jesus Christ, that is going right through his fucking skull as well. Jesus, there must be a fucking, I don't know, man, just judging by the size of my head, that must be like a 6-inch knife blade. I don't know. A surgeon has removed a rusty knife from a man's head, which was embedded there for 26 years. That's the 4-inch blade. Here we go. There's old Betty boy looking at that thinking, that's got to be 6 inches. The 4-inch blade had been there since he was violently mugged in 1994. In 2012, the patient, 76, named only as Mr. Jurigi, sought medical attention after he began suffering from a chronic headache. No shit. When was that then? Fucking 2012. That's like 18 years later. How bad are his fucking reflexes? Or how shit are his pain receptors in his brain that fucking 18 years later he started getting a headache. But the knife was kept in his head because it was believed to pose a threat to his life. It had been removed. Oh, right. Okay. Fucking hell. Jesus, yeah. Was finally taken out at Shandong, here we go, hospital in China, which described the case as a miracle. And that there's definitely only about 3... The doctor described this case as a miracle and wanted to add at the end, at gunpoint, there's only about 3,000 people died by coronavirus, by the way. Oh dear, as his family are down in a cellar, all tied up, and he's just been shown a fucking live stream of them on Zoom. Images supplied by the facility in Jinan, capital city of Shandong province, showed that the intact fruit knife blade retrieved from the back of Mr. Juriji's head. That was badly read, wasn't it? Mr. Juriji, who is from the rural county of Hainan in China's northwestern province underwent 2 procedures on the April the 2nd and April the 8th. At the end of March, he was flown more than 1,860 miles for the pro bono treatment after medics touring the countryside discovered a shocking case which went largely untreated due to the limitations of local medical facilities. Yeah. Dear. This is where you find out he's the one who fucked about and gave us all this, I don't know. The 2-part life-saving surgery was designed by Shandong. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it's like the blade in his head is 10 centimetres long. Yeah, 4 inches. Fucking hell. Doctors give me a chance at life and ended my nightmare of more than 20 years. Fucking hell. You can give that knife back to your fucking mugger now. Who'd have thought that? You stab somebody in the head and then 20-odd years later, 26 years later, you get your fucking knife back. Jesus. Well, there's somebody who's got a few different issues on the go at the moment. He's probably going to go in hospital now, get coronavirus and die. Whereas he'd been perfectly fine just taking a few Anadin every day. I don't know. Let's have a look at this one. Also China. There's a lot of Chinese news out here. They are pumping out... They are pumping out weird stories at the minute. That is one not very good sign, is it? China pumping out all of these weird stories. Hey, we've got loads of weird stories for you. What's happening with the coronavirus? Did you not hear about the guy with a fucking knife in his head? Jesus. Yeah, but what are your figures about the coronavirus? Don't worry about that. We've got another story for you. Don't worry about that. There was a family given an 80-year-old woman's body instead of a 21-year-old man. Here's the story. But what about your coronavirus figures? Somebody's working on them at the moment. Oh, fucking hell. Jesus. Coughed straight down the microphone then. It just popped out of nowhere. Here we are. A family was given an 80-year-old woman's body instead of a 21-year-old man. I imagine they were expecting the 21-year-old man was one of their relatives. They're just not giving away bodies in China. Hey, man, I ordered a 20-year-old dead man. Why have you given me an 80-year-old woman? Well, you know, we just have an influx of people in their 80s at the moment for some unknown reason, totally not connected to any viruses going around at the moment. A hospital in China has apologised after a mix-up in the morgue saw 2 grieving families given the wrong bodies. Jesus. The error was discovered when one of the families tried to have a photo taken, who thought they'd had been handed the body of a 21-year-old male relative, instead found the corpse of an 80-year-old woman. The old woman's family had come to claim her body 2 weeks earlier, but were apparently unaware the body that they had buried belonged to a young man. Jesus fucking hell. So they had to dig him up, did they? And then to say, dig him up, you got the wrong body, here's your fucking old relative. The dead man's uncle, Chen Yihong, I don't know why they give the names, told local media, because they're people too, Ben. They're all people, just because you can't say their name. I know. The dead man's uncle, Chen Yihong, told local media the morgue in Hebei province, it's all provinces out there, isn't it? Charged £1,100 to hold the corpse until the funeral was ready to be held. Fucking hell. There's a picture. They've got a picture of the people digging up the fucking body. And what's that? A picture of the hospital where the bodies were stacked up. That would, admittedly, that's going to be horrendous, isn't it? You know, but once you're gone, you're gone. I think we ought to do that. Maybe that's the way forward. We ought to start burying other people's family for them. And, and see how that goes. Just hand the funeral details off to somebody else. You bury their family member. They bury your family member. You know, you haven't got any of that weird shit crying or anything like that. And it becomes a celebration of somebody else's life. This could be the future with all this neighbourliness going on at the moment after the coronavirus. Assuming there's any of us left, by the way. It's still clocking on a bit, isn't it? A little bit too much. for everyone's liking at the moment. It seems a little bit, I know, it seems a little bit at the moment like it's a little bit of a holiday type, sort of like with the sun shining outside and everybody sitting in the gardens and having a few beers and shit like that. And then it seems like, there's this thing still lurking out there which can grab hold of you if somebody fucking, you touch the wrong surface, you don't wash your hands enough, somebody sneezes on an ice cream and then you go and eat it. Who knows? I don't know. It just seems a bit strange at the minute. It's still strange times. Everybody's getting used to it, aren't they? Everybody's still getting used to it, and it's still out there killing people. What better way to end the podcast than that? If you want to message me or anything like that, it is just podcast@benbriggs.co.uk. It's Monday, so I will be back on Wednesday. I know it's meant to be Saturdays and Tuesdays. But I will be back on Wednesday. Just gives me a little bit of time. It's difficult to know what to talk about, people, because I'm essentially sat here like the rest of you. I'm going to be going on about describing my cushion covers or shit like that, or, my next decorating tasks that I'll inevitably have to do at some point. So it just gives me an extra day. I'll do it Wednesday morning. And mix it up a little bit. And that will be episode 99. And then fucking hopefully we can get some videoed for the 100th episode. But who knows? Who knows about the Royal Mail system at the moment? And we're waiting for something to come through. So that was episode 98. Motherfuckers, you stay safe. Wash your fucking hands, you dirty bastards. Don't sneeze over people's food. We'll start playing with your fucking ugly bits, like in front of people. I think that's the general rule anyway, isn't it? I don't know. I'll be back on Wednesday morning, people. Take care until then.